Hello everyone, Lakesia and
James.
we are here with Say What with James and Lakesia, and we are going to review our movies that we saw for the month of August. We do ask you to subscribe to the channel if you are into movies and movie reviews, and make sure you like the video. Tell us which movie was your favorite video for the month with the movies that we saw. And right now we're going to kick it off with
Trap.
And this is a movie by M. Night Shyamalan, and he is one of my favorite writers, directors. His movies,
Hit or miss.
yes, but I do enjoy his movies. So with Trapped, basically the story kicks off with a Philadelphia firefighter, Cooper Adams, who's taking his daughter, Riley, to a pop star concert for a reward of her good grades. That's sweet, right? Except Cooper isn't just any doting dad.
He's a darn serial killer known as the Butcher.
Yep, you heard that right. And one thing about Cooper, I love the character or the gentleman that played Cooper. And yes, he is one of my favorite actors, but watching him grow up on the screen, you know, I'm glad that he came back to star in this movie. But James, you did say that you thought that he was acting in TV shows, right?
I think he had some show on TV.
Okay, so the FBI knows the Butcher is going to be at the concert, and they're ready to pounce. But just like in typical TV movie fashion, Cooper is always a step ahead. He even uses chaos from an explosion he sets off to slip out of their grasp. Talk about a master manipulator, and just talk about how crazy you would have to be to fall for his stunts. So one of the craziest things that I find is he just randomly goes up when him and his daughter are trying to get a t-shirt.
Oh, yeah.
And one of the people that work at selling the t-shirts for, I guess, the concert, he's just spilling all the tea.
Yeah.
What's his name? Jamie?
I think it was Jamie. And because he asked him why was so much of a big buildup of
Police
law
presence.
enforcement there. And he said, I don't supposed to tell you.
I'm not supposed to say anything.
But, you ever heard of that nut job called the Butcher? Yeah. And he's supposed to be here tonight.
And he was not telling just a little bit of the tea. He was spilling all the tea, telling all the secrets, and just saying, don't say anything because I can get in trouble. But you told him everything you needed to know. And the craziest thing is he was always a step ahead, just like when he went in the back and he was in the back when the police were talking.
Oh, yeah. After he had already stole the old boy's badge so he could get clearance to the back, he goes back there. He was really looking for a way out, kept looking for ways out, and ran right into the whole SWAT team.
Yeah, because after Jamie told him what it was, he was looking for a way out right then. But I find that this was just, for me, it was a way to promote M. Night Shyamalan's daughter's music, because she sang all the songs in the concert, the movie. And it's funny how he always writes himself in his movie, and now he wrote his daughter in. Mm-hmm. But the craziest things is that he just stayed one step ahead, just like when he went out on the building, he wasn't supposed to be there. Yeah. But because of your boy Jamie, he knew the code word and everything.
Yeah, Jamie gave him his code and everything. So they asked him what's the code. He gave him the code. When he found out the department, when he got to the department about the Lady Raven, which was M. Night Shyamalan's daughter, playing his niece in the movie, would always have one of the kids come up on stage.
Oh yeah, the Dreamer Girl.
The Dreamer Girl. And but the Dreamer Girl is normally someone that's sick. Yeah, has a sickness.
Like a terminal illness.
So this Joker lies and says that his daughter just beat cancer to get on that stage, because he heard if you can get on that stage, you can leave backstage, and you can possibly leave out the building. And he lied to M. Night Shyamalan playing the uncle. And of course, he got his daughter Riley on stage.
But the funny thing is how he just had access to him. Just walked right up to him like a regular person, started talking to him with all the police presence, because he's looking all everywhere for a way out. Maybe I can get down there. Maybe I can get over there.
Mm-hmm.
But he actually ended up getting his daughter to go on stage as the Dreamer Girl, because for one, she was having issues with the other girls at school. They were having some type of...
That's probably why he was kind of crazy.
Yeah. They were having some type of beef. And so the other girls that went to school with her, they were there and they saw her go on stage as the Dreamer Girl. While the other girl that's sick with the cancer for real or whatever she has, she's over here about to pass out.
Passed out. They had to take her head. And it was this little profiler lady. The FBI profiler. The FBI profiler lady. She knew exactly what he'd be. Probably be a white male. They knew he had a tattoo on his wrist. They know whether there was a sheep or a goat or whatever, and he had it.
But because he was able to steal the police radio, he was listening to everything. Yeah. So it was crazy how he manipulated his way backstage, and then he goes and tells Lady Raven he wants to talk to her, and then he shows...
Because he knew he had no way out.
No way out. He shows her the video of the guy that he's kidnapped and has at the house, and he's like, if you don't help him, he's dead. So I'm sorry, I love you, whoever this person was, but
she could have ended it right then. All she had to say, hey,
I don't know, you got all these police right here. So it's crazy, because he ends up slipping out with her in the limo.
Which wouldn't have been, that's just movie, because she would have never left.
And if she did, her bodyguard would have been right there, yeah. So even though his character was fascinating, he was a loving dad on one hand, but a cold, calculated killer on the other. His relationship with his family is what makes it so, the story so much more complex, because Lady Raven, he thought that he was going to get her to take them around the corner to drop him off at his vehicle, since he already got away from the police. But she was like, no, I'm gonna take you home. Yeah.
She was playing too.
Yeah. So whenever they get to the house, then she basically gets Cooper's phone, and they're live streaming. Then she runs in the bathroom and she's talking to the young guy and getting all the information as to where he is. Spoiler alert, if you haven't watched the movie, don't watch this video until you've seen it. But they end up saving him, and just when you thought it couldn't get any worse, the Cooper gets into the bathroom. He forces her into the garage, and the profiler did actually have the type of vehicle he drove and all of that correct, but his family ends up,
he had locked his family in the room upstairs.
In the room upstairs, but they end up
getting out by climbing out. There's a tree by the daughter's
bedroom,
and they climbed out, and as they was opening up the garage door, they was right there.
And didn't the police end up coming? And
she started talking like he was her mother
in the car.
Over there, yeah. And that kind of threw him off, because all through the movie he would see his mother.
Yes.
His mother would tell him, you're a monster and stuff like that. And right at that point, he knew Lady Raven got out the car, and he just told his kids, I love you, and
he went back in the house, but the police had the house surrounded.
Mm-hmm.
But of course, he outsmarted them again, and he got out the house. And Lady Raven was leaving, but he got her again.
Got the limo driver out. He was dressed like a SWAT guy somehow, and got the limo guy out. And she in the car, in the limo, and he drives off with her.
Yes, and then the FBI and all that come, and they surround the car. Lady Raven gets out of before all that happened, Lady Raven was able to escape with all the fans and stuff that were outside, and somehow he escapes. And
because they lit the car up.
Yes. So he's, again, always a step ahead of them. And so then he ends up being, going back to the house. And
come to find out, his wife had a feeling that he was the butcher because she said one time he had just lied so easily to one of the neighbors and stuff, and it was things he was doing, staying out late. And so she bought the ticket, and she kind of tipped off the FBI that he would be at the concert.
Yes. And the pie scene is so intense. She actually drugs him with his own pills.
Yeah.
And this is really the emotional moment where Cooper, for the first time, actually acts like he feels something real. And the ending, though, Cooper is caught, but not before outsmarting the police again, adjusting Riley's bicycle and sharing an emotional moment with her, giving her a hug. And it's so eerie because even as he's led away, you get the feeling that he thinks he's still in control.
Yeah. And they take him away. They put the camera on him, and he's taking out. What he did, took one of the spokes out the bicycle wheels, and he got their cuffs off. At the same time, we had this crazy laugh. Crazy laugh. And said, like, he knew he was. Reminded me of Psycho. When he was saying, I'm not even going to kill. I'm not even going to kill.
I'm not going to fly. I'm not going to hurt it. I wouldn't hurt a thing.
Yeah.
And it's just so crazy because the whole time you're thinking, M. Night Shyamalan, you know this would not really happen. Because in the end, they would not let him touch the bike or his daughter. But you went there. But Jamie, in the mid-credit scene, now it was definitely a nice touch because Jamie, the vendor, he finally got a clue and realized who Cooper was.
Because he seen it on the news.
Yes, he saw it on the news. And it was a small detail, but it tied up loose ends from the beginning of the movie. And Jamie swore that he's not talking to anybody else.
He was like, oh, I helped him.
I helped him. But yeah, I really enjoyed Trap. I thought that it was a really good movie. It was one of my favorite directors, M. Night Shyamalan. I love his movies, most of them. And one of my favorite actors, Josh Arnett. I love him as well. So what did you rate the movie for the month of August, James?
I'd have to put Trap as my second best movie in August.
Okay, and let's do a quick rundown real quick of the movies that we saw. We saw Trapped, we saw
Cuckoo,
Alien,
Romulus, and Blink Twice.
Okay, so I'm gonna have to put Trapped as my number one movie for the month of August. So another month where we disagree, but hey, we're two individuals, so it's all good. Okay, up next we have the movie Cuckoo. And this is going to be a psychological thriller with some seriously creepy sci-fi elements. Yeah, it was a mind bender. It's got everything from family drama to parasitic aliens. And I don't think we'll ever look at Cuckoo Birds the same way. So let's break this down. So the movie is going to center around Gretchen, a teenager who's dealing with the loss of her mother. Hey, spoiler alert, if you haven't seen the movie, watch that before watching the review. Well, she moves with her family to this secluded Bavarian resort town. And right off the bat, strange things start happening. You know that's going to happen when you move to a secluded Bavarian resort town. So you've got mysterious guests vomiting, eerie screeching sounds in the woods. Her little sister, Alma, starts to suffer from seizures every time the screech happens.
And let's not forget the hooded woman who walks around, which gives a crazy horror vibe. When Gretchen teams up with a detective named Henry, discovers the hooded woman might be considered a series of murders, and things spiral into madness from there.
Yeah, well, one of the most unnerving moments for me was when Gretchen and Ed tried to escape, only to get caught in the time loop crash in their car. So, Gretchen is a rebellious teenager. She decides that she's gonna take a job at the resort. Her dad's like, I don't think that's a good idea. But the owner or the manager of the resort was like, we can have her work daytime hours. Right off the bat, she's like, no, I can work night. You don't know where you are, but you're going to work night. So her first night that she's working there, or it might have been the second night. The first night, she's not even supposed to be working there, but a girl that works at the check-in with her at the hotel check-in, she wants to go on a date, so she doesn't care. She leaves Gretchen there. So Gretchen's going home on her bicycle, and it's woods everywhere, pitch black. She's riding a bicycle, and crazy things start happening. So the hooded lady comes out, and it's like, why didn't you listen? You know, that everybody's telling you, but you think you know better. And so the hooded lady just kept appearing. It was like she was just around the corner, keeping everybody on edge. And then you find out she's not even a human, but a parasitic alien species. And things just get creepy from there. The whole movie is creepy. But yeah, and Cuckoo, because when she ends up in that time loop with the girl that she was leaving with, they were like in some kind of relationship with the, don't even want to go there. But Gretchen's relationship with her family plays a big role in the film. She's mourning her mother, which I can definitely understand. She lost her mother. She was uprooted from her home, made to live with her new ready-made family, her dad and her stepmom, but she feels disconnected from her father, Louis, and her stepmom. And Alma, the half-sister, she's mute, and she becomes a central figure in the story. And we later discover that Alma is part of the alien species, much like the cuckoo bird that leaves its offspring in other species' nests. Now, when we find that out, that's crazy.
Yeah.
The fact that Alma was placed in their family by the species to eventually rejoin them is such a great twist. Because when the women are there, somehow they're impregnating them with these alien type bird things. But I do feel for Gretchen. She's confused on who she is. She's confused on where she is. She's confused on what she is. And she's grieving. And by the end, she has to make an impossible decision to save her sister. But one of the most, I don't think that anything was fascinating about Cuckoo, but it just plays with themes of identity and belonging, because I did feel that Gretchen was lost. Yeah. I felt like she was like a duck out of water. She looked weird. She acted weird.
Yeah.
Her whole world was turned upside down when she realized that Alma isn't really her sister, but an alien plant put there one day to leave with her real kind. It's a metaphor for how alienating grief and the family dynamics can feel. So maybe that's what the movie was supposed to feel, but I just didn't get it.
Yeah, this movie wasn't.
It was
a good movie to me.
Yeah, and it was just crazy how they used humans for survival, and it felt like a commentary on manipulation and control. Cornig, the resort owner, is running this bizarre experiment, keeping the whole thing going. His character added a really sinister layer to the movie. But the climax of the movie is intense when Gretchen stabs Henry to stop him from killing Alma. You can see how far she's willing to go for her family. But then Coning shows up again and the situation escalates even more. Well, the standoff between Conan and Henry had us on edge, and when we thought it was over, Alma lets out this powerful screech that basically it knocks both men off long enough for her and her and Gretchen to escape. And it's a real sisters have their back moment. So my final thoughts on Cuckoo, I did not enjoy the movie. I did not think it was a good movie.
Like it at all.
It was crazy. To me, it was
Senseless.
yeah, a complete waste of time. Would I watch it again? Probably not. But we did see 4 movies, so I'm gonna have to give this a number 4.
This was dead last for me too.
Yeah, this. But you know, thanks for watching, and let us know what you think about Cuckoo if you saw it, and
Or if you decide to watch it.
don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the notification bell for more reviews. Okay, guys. So up next we have Alien
Romulus.
And I must say off the bat, I am not a Romulus fan. Sorry about that. Please silence your phones.
Okay, I thought it was the best movie we probably saw in August.
Make sure you like the video, turn on notifications. You thought it was the best movie that we saw in August?
Oh, yeah.
I'm not really an Aliens fan, but hey, I did enjoy the movie. The young lady that played in this movie, she is one of the young ladies that played in Civil War, and she was very much disliked at the end for getting one of the main characters unalived.
Yeah, that's probably why you didn't like it.
Yes,
Did
and
you like
I'm pretty sure your mom didn't like her. No, I liked her in this movie though. But we're gonna venture into the depths of space with the thrilling sci-fi horror movie Romulus. So get ready for a cosmic ride filled with suspense, action, and Xenomorphs.
Yeah, because it goes around Rain Carradine and her adopted brother, which is an android, and his name is Andy. And what happens is she works on the, I forget the name of what is it?
Was it the USCSS
Nostromo planet, and you know, as they're working to try and build more planets for humans to be on. But she finishes her whatever trial or her obligation, but they added 7 more years.
Yeah, she was supposed to be able to go and get released.
Yeah.
But when she went, they were like, "Hey, we need X amount of time." So she was punished instead of rewarded.
Yeah.
So. And James is gonna pretty much be taking the lead in this, because Aliens, I only saw the first one, but they basically, like he was talking about her brother Andy. Andy was an android. At first I didn't know, because Andy was a little different. He had kind of like a disability, so she had to look out for him. I didn't know he was an android at first, but she looked out for Andy. And
well, they go and meet up with
some of her
old friends. There's a ship that's sitting out in space. They're owned by Saturn, by Saturn's rings, or whatever the name of the planet was, the rings, and it had pods on there, which that was still usable, but you have to get on that ship and them pods could safely take you to the planet that she really wanted to go to.
Yeah, because she was convinced by her, because her ex-boyfriend was one of those workers, and that's who really convinced her to go, and it was to try to escape to the planet
Jamaica.
And there was some mean people that was a part of that crew too, because one of the guys that was there, he liked to pick on.
He didn't like
Andy. Yeah,
it was a reason why though.
We didn't know if it was because he was a different color, but we come to find out it was really because an android made a bad decision. I guess regarding one of his parents.
But as far as them going up to this ship crash or whatever, they had to have Andy, because Andy could scan the doors.
It was like a door key where you put fingerprints and stuff like that in it.
And an android, he could override them.
for that expedition. They needed him.
Yeah.
But of course, nothing goes smoothly. And first of all, if they did this, if they got caught, couldn't they get in trouble? And if it didn't go right, they could get in trouble. So, but she did her term and they added more time. So, I mean, what else was she going to do? But from jump, it just
goes wrong.
Yeah.
They go on for one, they're on the spacecraft now, and they go into a room where they find the pods. Only problem is the room is full of facehuggers, and when they opened the door, they had it rigged so it would thaw the room out.
The temperature control.
The temperature, and it was the room full of them. They didn't know it, but of course, as they're in there with the pods, and the pods was only set for, I think, 3.5 years. They needed to be 6 years, but they had to get some more.
They needed some. It was some type of fuel. Or...
Yeah, some type of fuel that would push them further. But as they go into the one room, it's full of facehuggers. They don't know it, but that door jams to where they can't get back out.
Yeah, and it's just pure chaotic from there.
Yeah, because after that, the room is the water's starting to come up, and then is that when Navarro or whatever the girl's name is gets attacked by the facehugger? First it was inside the water swing because they called them. They went on the ship to try and help them, and
whenever the door got jammed, they had to try to get one of the other androids that was dead or unalive and put it in Andy so that he can't override that door. But when they did that, it was like taking Andy from Steve Urkel to Stefan.
Yeah, because it's a process because you have to download all the information. At that time, though, the facehuggers was all over the other guys, so they end up breaking the window, breaking the glass, and of course one of the facehuggers jump out and hits the other young lady,
Navarro,
grabs on the face, and they can't get it off of them.
Now there was a one of the other like android type creatures that was there, but he was just like from chest up, and he was communicating with Andy, and he was telling them that there was one way to get the facehugger off of Navarro's or whatever her name is. It was one way to get it off of her, but this thing was on her for a really long time.
Yeah, and you know, as they get on you, they deposit their seed inside of you.
Yes, and so I'm sorry, but if I saw it on her, you're not getting on the ship. Yeah, point blank.
And that android actually told Andy, you basically tell him you might want to take over because the humans are not gonna.
They're going to use emotions. They're going to use emotions instead of the brain. Yeah. And that's exactly what they were doing. And so...
Because Andy was not one to let her back
on the ship. But that's when everything really starts spiraling out of control. But when Andy, because his first command, it was like kind of like our robot. The robots have 3 laws that they can't break or whatever. But the first was to look after... Rain, make sure Rain's good, and that because they do have a sibling like bond, but when he's reprogrammed, he becomes loyal to Waylon. What is that? Yutani for a portion of the movie, and you can tell that Rain's influence on him is still strong, but when it came back to letting Navarro, she wouldn't have got back on that ship, but of course
she did,
and there was. And
of course,
the boyfriend that was on there with him because they didn't want to let her back on the ship. Andy didn't want to let her back on the ship. He tried to leave them. But he ended up paying the price for that because she started manifesting. And it took her out. And there was another young lady that was pregnant. And she was the ex-boyfriend's sister, Rain's ex-boyfriend's sister, and she was pregnant. And the was it Tyler? Was his name Tyler?
Yeah, and you know it don't take that long for the aliens to morph into.
So it was like a big, whatever, like a spider web up on the ceiling. And so Tyler, all I can say is he gets what he got. Yeah. He tried to take it out with this little shocking thing, but it ended up taking him out.
Yeah. The
so
acid just messed him up, and it just killed him. And they did manage to get back on the ship.
Yeah, but let me say this real quick about Tyler. He was resourceful and determined, but those reckless decisions he made, they cost him his life.
Yeah. Bringing
Navarro back on there. But they did, like James was saying, they did manage to get back on the ship. But...
And at the same time, also, they only had a certain amount of time they could be on the ship because the ship was gravitating toward the rings. So
the ships that they had hopped on to get the fuel for the pods.
And the pods, yeah.
So, yeah, and when he took off, it kind of put them at a disadvantage. So they had to go back through this ship, which is full of facehuggers, and they know it. And so Andy's like, okay, but they go off of body temperature, so you have to be real
slow moving and don't get excited, because if any drop of sweat, they coming.
Yeah. So it was just crazy. But the action scenes were very intense. Yeah. The zero gravity sequence where Rain disabled the gravity, it was crazy because they had to I'm trying to think about how they got back through the ship, because when the alien killed Tyler and the sister was still in there.
It killed Tyler because the alien had already took the sister, and they was trying to get out because they like I said, they got to get out of their ship before it hits the rings. But the aliens, they manipulate you, and the sister was crying out, and he was like, "Oh, we got to get my sister. We got to get her." And she's free for a moment, and she's at a door, and once again, Andy's saying
he can see the alien, like,
we're not going to open the door.
Yeah, because he's not the regular Andy. He's the one that's programmed to do what's best for them despite how they feel. So even though Rain's saying, open the door, he's not going to open it.
Yeah. And so she slaps Andy and everything, and the alien took the sister. But the kicker was they got into the room where they was...
No, Tyler was her ex-boyfriend. I'm sorry. Yeah. Tyler was the ex-boyfriend.
They was experimenting on things. And the other android was telling them that you need this. This is like pretty much like he like it might have been like an antidote or something. But the only problem was they didn't finish watching the video, and the video showed it was a mouse that was crushed, but
when it met
in the video, the mouse mutated.
Yeah, when it mutated.
And they took that. They took some of them syringes, and they actually put it into once they got the sister back, the alien killed the brother, and they put it into the girl that was pregnant.
Yeah.
And of course, it mutated inside of her.
They put it into Kay. That was Tyler's pregnant sister. Yeah. And Bjorn, Bjorn, that was Tyler and Kay's cousin.
Yeah. But they did get to the pods. They was planning on leaving. And there was one thing we forgot, that the androids couldn't go to Java.
Yeah.
And
but she had put the chip back in.
Yeah.
She switched the chip back for Andy.
Well, and if they're trying to get off the ship, the baby, comes out like an alien fashion, and it's a different looking. It looked like, what was the movie beforehand?
Yeah, after Kate dies after giving birth to the hybrid.
The hybrid.
I don't know what it was a cocoon.
Yeah, but it come out as the what was it?
And it was burning everything. It was like acid. So when it came out, she was trying to catch it, but it had went down to the bottom. But it grew so fast. It was like it mutated and it was just humongous. And did you say it looked like Prometheus?
Prometheus, that's what it was. It was a Prometheus. And Rain and the hybrid get in a brutal fight in the end, and she's trying to get the doors open to get out and to eject the creature, and she finally did.
But not before he took Andy out.
Yeah, he cut Andy's throat.
Mm-hmm. And white stuff was coming out.
Yeah. But Andy did survive though. She put him in after they did get away from the alien.
She put him in the chamber to
heal.
Put him
in the.
I thought he was gone.
In the pod, and she said she was taking Andy with her.
Even though you're not supposed to take. Yeah. So she ended up somehow ejecting the creature out, didn't she?
Yeah.
And I just the fighting scene. Now we did forget when Andy said, "Get off of her."
Oh, yeah.
You know the scene that they always talk about.
Before he was kind of soft.
I told you he went from Steve Urkel to Stefan, but it was all right for me.
It was a pretty good movie to me. It was the best movie I saw in August.
I'd probably have to give this a 2.
Second.
Yeah, because I'm not really into aliens and all that stuff.
Me either, but it was the best. We saw it in August.
Okay, so up next we have Blink Twice, and it is a thought-provoking thriller that left me like, what? So get ready for a blend of suspense, horror, and critical social commentary. So Blink Twice is going to follow our protagonist, Frida. She is an animal-themed and nail artist and cocktail waitress who gets invited to a lavish event at a private island of a billionaire tech mogul, Slater King. What appears to be a glamorous getaway quickly spirals into a nightmare.
Yeah, and then a series of unsettling events follow that erases memories of Frida, which is her name, must fight to uncover the truth, save herself and her friends from an insidious scheme of exploitation.
Well, first off, from the start, I'm not going anywhere, anytime, anyhow with somebody I don't know. Point blank. So if you haven't seen Blink Twice, don't watch this until you've seen the movie, because this is going to be a spoiler alert. I'm not going anywhere with anybody I don't know. This sounds like a familiar story that's being played out that has played out in the news before and being played out right now. So right from the start, now the film does a fantastic job of creating an eerie atmosphere, and the island really does feel like a paradise, but there's always an underlying tension. When I first saw the island, I kind of felt like maybe I got like a 1960s vibe from it, like a little psycho vibe or something going on from it. I don't know. But what did you think?
It was crazy. It was crazy how these young ladies want to go. Basically, they thought they was going with Slater King, which is
a mogul.
Yeah.
He's an entertainment mogul. He is just
after to pick her out.
A billionaire tech mogul.
Did she want to come party with him? Listen.
Yeah, they're at an event. She's, a waitress and her and her friend, and they get picked out. Hey, you want to go with us? You don't have a suitcase packed. You don't have a toothbrush packed. You're not telling anybody where you're going. You have bills to pay. Let's go. No way. So the movie, The movie tackles heavy themes like consent, memory manipulation, and the horrors of SA, illustrated profoundly through the use of the flower that wipes memories. So it pushes us to confront uncomfortable truths about society and the ways in which power dynamics can exploit the vulnerable. It reminds me of an all too familiar story that's playing out right now.
No dick.
But it also can remind us of Isaiah 1:17, where we're called to seek justice and defend the oppressed. But first of all, don't go anywhere, anytime, any place with somebody you don't know. All right. So just when you thought you figured it out, it throws in shocking twists. Finding out that Slater and his friends had a history of repeated offenses is gut-wrenching.
Yeah.
Sound familiar? So I just think that with Blink Twice, it's crazy because when you first get to the island, they want to take your phone.
Yeah, I'm not
No way. No way. The phones are confiscated. Guests and a mix of influencers, professionals, well, they are a mix of influencers, professionals, and business partners. They're served fancy food, cocktails, and hallucinogenic drugs. But when Jess notices memory lapses and Frida finds herself clashing with a reality star, Sarah, the real sinister nature of the island starts to reveal itself. You know, you're having fun. Oh, but what happened yesterday? I don't know. What happened last night? I don't know. So.
And after there was an old lady that kept telling them to really.
But she was trying to tell them, but she didn't speak English.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you come up to me and you're telling me something in Spanish, I'm done. I don't speak Spanish. And I don't have my phone to get Google Translator out to see what you're saying.
And they was losing memory, so
it was doing. It's like doing the same thing every day. But you're looking at your nails.
One of the girls actually got bit
by a snake.
And when she got bit by a snake, she started remembering stuff.
Yeah.
And then she became a problem to him.
Yes, because one of the key moments is when Frida stumbled across that room that was filled with the identical red gift bag. And Gina Davis was in here too.
Yeah.
That's when things really start to unravel. You know something is off. But when Frida drinks the snake venom, she starts to piece things together because once the friend got bit, the next day it's like,
yeah, she was gone.
Where's my friend? And nobody can remember her. But we got a lighter. Her lighter. And her lighter has her name on it. And it's like, okay, what happened to her? But that was a big turning point because the idea that the island's food and perfume were laced with a memory-wiping flower.
Yeah.
It adds a terrible layer of manipulation. The women are being used and then having their memories erased every night. That's A-Bay. It's hard to imagine anything more disturbing. And when Frida's memory returns after she drinks that snake venom, because for whatever reason, snake venom makes you remember stuff, it's heartbreaking. The reveal that Jess, she's like, where's Jess? And everybody's like, who's Jess? Who's Jess? But they ended up getting the concoction that the older lady was telling them about, and they end up having their friends drink it, like acting like they're taking shots. Not really their friends, but the people that are on the island too, the women, because the men had went off. And that's when they started realizing what these jokers were doing to them. But
and she also realized that she was there before.
Yeah, but that's not till the character dynamics are fascinating. Slater, who was played by Shannon Tatum, he's suave, he's charming, he's the tech mogul on the surface, but underneath, he is a manipulative predator. Sound like some other people we know? His control is over everyone, especially the women. That makes him a true villain. So what I found interesting was the way the other characters played into the system of abuse. Lucas, for example, chose to be passively complicit, which makes his role just as troubling. Because just like D.L. Hughley said, either you're an accomplice or, if you're just not speaking up, you're an accomplice.
Yeah.
So it made it just as troubling as the active participants like Slater or his assistant Stacy, who is played by Gina Davis.
Yeah.
But she really stood out because she's so wrapped up in the fantasy. They gave her some of the snake venom too.
She didn't even.
She didn't want this lifestyle
She said,
that
I didn't want
she
to remember.
attacked Frida and wanted to maintain her ignorance.
Yeah.
And it's tragic in its own way, but I was glad when Frida took her down. But Frida and the reality star Sarah, their partnership was a highlight for us.
Yeah.
Watching them regain their memories and fight back was empowering. Even in that dark situation, their bond grew as they battled their way out of the nightmare, and it made the climax even more satisfying. So, unfortunately, I don't know if when they wrote this movie and decided to put it out, if they knew all the stuff that was going on was going to happen, but it does tackle some pretty heavy themes: power, consent, control, particularly when it comes to our memory and identity. Google hush. The memory wiping flower isn't just a plot device, it's a metaphor for how people in power can manipulate others into forgetting the harm they've done, especially when they think that they have money.
Yeah.
And Slater delivers. There is no forgiving, only forgetting. Sums up the film's central theme. He represents those who think they can erase their sins by wiping them away without ever truly being accountable. And we're seeing now that everybody's going to pay.
Yeah.
But her red rabbit fingernails are symbolic. They tie into her past experience on the island, like James was saying.
Mm-hmm.
She was brutalized, but she
Yeah,
didn't
before.
completely forget. The maid recognizing her from those nails shows how small fragments of the truth can slip through, even through the strongest attempts to control memory. The suspense in the movie is definitely next level. From the moment Frida starts suspecting something is wrong to the chaos that ensues once the women's memories return, the tension never lets up. And the scene where Camilla stabs Tom to unaliven him is brutal. Where Heather fights with Vic, it had us on the edge of the seat. The violence is raw, unflinching, but it's also very important because these women are finally reclaiming their agency. And I do think that some of the people that saw this thought that the gentleman that was, he didn't say anything, he might have been one of the victims as well. I didn't. I just thought that he wasn't a participant, but he was watching, crying, not stopping anything.
Yeah.
And I have to mention the ending. Frida and Sarah escaping the burning villa felt like a well-deserved moment of victory. But the fact that Frida chooses to keep Slater alive and essentially turn the tables on him by becoming the CEO while keeping him under the control with the memory erasing perfume, that was a twist I didn't see coming.
Yeah. But how did you see this movie?
Well, I do have one last thing to say. She was controlling the man that tried to control her. So I felt like I definitely didn't think this movie was what it ended up being. I don't know, because the way she's controlling him at the end, her decision to keep Slater alive and in a constant state of disorientation shows how power can corrupt anyone, even someone who was once a victim. Because a lot of victims become, they become abusers. I definitely didn't know this movie was going to be about what it was about. I do have to say that I probably gave this movie a 3.
The third best, yeah.
The third best movie, because I definitely did not like the theme of the movie, what it was about. But Cuckoo was Cuckoo for Cocoa Puff, so that had to come in number 4. So yeah, how did you see it?
It was third best for me.
So yeah. So if you saw any of these movies, let us know what you thought. After all the events that are happening in our world today, yeah, you wonder if they knew before they put the movie out. But yeah, it was okay. I will say that. But Don't forget to like the video, subscribe, and
Like the
turn your
channel.
notifications on. Thank you so much. And we're out with Say What with James and Keisha.
Oops.